Dillian the Body Snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
Okay, so the Body Snatcher, Dillian Whyte, has responded to Deontay Wilder, where Deontay Wilder, he does some interviews, of course, most notably with Sky Sports, where he speaks about Dillian Whyte. He says how Dillian Whyte is the scum between his toes. He's one of the cockroaches that is seen in the light but not in the dark, or seen in the dark but not in the light, and whatever other kind of crap. And how Dillian Whyte had the opportunity to fight him, but Dillian Whyte chose not to. Absolute nonsense. So, before we get into Dillian Whyte's rebuttal to Deontay Wilder, let's just clarify something, because there's a lot of morons out there that, even though I've said it 101 times, they still can't get it. So, just to do it for 102nd time now, there was no opportunity for Dillian Whyte to fight Deontay Wilder. And I know a lot of people seem to point towards the Luis Ortiz situation. They point to a Dominic Breazeale situation. Well, it was Dominic Breazeale who pulled out of the negotiations with Dillian Whyte. It was Dominic Breazeale who turned down that fight. Anyway, so for the Luis Ortiz situation, the WBC, yes, they ordered Dillian Whyte and Luis Ortiz for secondary mandatory. I mean, I don't know why people don't understand what that is. It's secondary. It's not mandatory. It's secondary mandatory. Okay? And if you look back to when all this happened, Dominic Breazeale, he was the mandatory, and even then waited the longest time for him to get his world title opportunity against Deontay Wilder. And even since then, up to this point right now, no other mandatory has been called. So Dillian Whyte would still be waiting. I mean, you could say that Tyson Fury was mandatory. Yeah, because they stripped Dillian Whyte from his mandatory, awarded it to Tyson Fury, who hadn't deserved it, by the way, and because Tyson Fury had already agreed to fight Deontay Wilder. So that's just prolonging the mandatory situation. The WBC, very, very biased when it came to Deontay Wilder. I don't know why, and I've said this to Dillian on numerous occasions, I don't know why you don't just bin off the WBC. I really don't know. But anyway, so there's that situation. Also, Dillian, he did contact Deontay Wilder after Deontay Wilder says, you fight Luis Ortiz, this is before WBC ordered it, you fight Luis Ortiz, you beat Luis Ortiz, then you get me next. I guarantee you get me next. Dillian Whyte responded to on private messaging on Instagram and says, okay, I will fight Luis Ortiz next. Not only will I fight him and beat him, but I will knock him out. I knock him out, you have to sign something that says that you will fight me next. Not anybody else, but you fight me next. Wilder said no. He's going to freeze out Dillian Whyte. This is what Wilder's saying. This is the so-called champion. Dillian Whyte had been number one for the longest time. But I understand, you know what, some people just don't want to hear any of that. They just don't want to hear it, okay, because they have their own narratives about Dillian Whyte. They just don't want to hear the truth. But anyway, so moving on to Deontay Wilder calling Dillian Whyte scum between his toes and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so Dillian Whyte responds to Deontay Wilder and says this. Deontay Wilder is very confused. He's a very confused, deluded boy. That's what he does. He tries to use these words to confuse people. He just talks crap the whole time. When you ask him a question that he can't answer because he's not smart enough or adequate enough to answer, he just spins a web of talking shit to distract from the fact he's a wanker, basically. He will never fight me. He's a coward. He'll make excuses. I'll keep fighting this and this, that, and the other. What he should say is, I'll knock out Dillian Whyte. That's what he should be saying. I wouldn't be saying, oh, keep fighting, mate. He's just a first-class wanker. It's just a shame that Tyson Fury is going to have to beat him again, and then I won't get the opportunity to fight him. He'll just retire, run into the abyss, and he'll never be seen again. Dillian Whyte's statement. Now, this is not about whether or not you think Deontay Wilder beats Dillian Whyte or you think Dillian Whyte beats Deontay Wilder. Because a lot of people go, when Alexander Povetkin beat him, what do you think Deontay Wilder would do? Absolutely nothing is what Deontay Wilder would do. Deontay Wilder is crap. Okay, he's crap. I've said this for the longest time, which is why I've been pushing for Dillian Whyte to fight Deontay Wilder for the best part of, 3.5 years now. I've been perpetuating, get Dillian Whyte in the ring with Deontay Wilder and Dillian Whyte will end him. I know styles. Dillian Whyte ends Deontay Wilder brutally, and Deontay Wilder knows that. He knows it. Dillian Whyte is all wrong for him. Deontay Wilder cannot land that big punch on Dillian Whyte. Don't get me wrong, if he lands on Dillian Whyte, yes, of course, there's a very realistic chance that Dillian's going to go down and ain't going to be able to get back up again. Of course it is. But that's all heavyweights, right? But Deontay Wilder cannot take the punching power of Dillian Whyte. He can't do it. Dillian Whyte would be the hardest puncher that Deontay Wilder has ever been in the ring with. Don't tell me Tyson Fury punches harder than Dillian Whyte, because he don't. Not even close to it. Don't tell me Luis Ortiz does either. Not even close to it. But again, you see, Deontay Wilder, he always says how Dillian Whyte has to jump through hoops and go fight this guy and do this, that and the other. But yet, he never did that with Tyson Fury. How did Tyson Fury get a shot in the beginning? This is a guy who was out the ring for 3 years beforehand and fought 2 journeymen before Deontay Wilder. Where was the same energy with Tyson Fury? Where was the same energy with Luis Ortiz? Who did Luis Ortiz beat? Absolutely nobody. On both occasions that Luis Ortiz got the opportunity. Who did Dominic Brazil beat? Chris Arreola. Sorry, no, my bad. Eric Molina. Dominic Brazil defeated Eric bloody Molina, the school teacher. Who else did Deontay Wilder fight? Arthur Spilker, Chris Arreola, but makes the event twice. Okay, first time was for the belt, so fair enough. And other ones. He even tried to fight a Andre Wawrzyk guy. You remember that one? Wilder is an excuse maker. He's never done this with any other fighter but Dillian Whyte. That will tell you in itself. He doesn't fancy Dillian Whyte. He's got no interest in Dillian Whyte. He's scared to death of Dillian Whyte. But either way, the winner of Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder Part 3 is going to have to fight Dillian Whyte next. But, well, I say that because the WBC still haven't ordered it. Why? Because they're afraid. That's why. The WBC are a bunch of cowards is what they are. They pander for the fighters rather than doing what's right. The winner of that fight should be ordered to fight the interim champion, the #1 in Dillian Whyte. Forget about any kind of undisputed fight, because no matter who wins between Wilder and Fury, neither one of these has got the bollocks to get in there with Anthony Joshua anyway. So now you're going to have to fight Dillian Whyte. That's how it should be. The WBC haven't officially ordered that yet. Personally, if I was Dillian Whyte right now, I would be getting hold of the WBC and say, right, well, you need to be ordering me to fight the winner. You need to be doing that, because if you don't, I'm going to sue you. Because in my opinion, Dillian should have sued the WBC a long time ago. I know that he was sending legal letters and whatever else. And of course, there are other things, of course, that I'm not going to talk about here. But in my opinion, he needs to be pushing this issue before it becomes too late. He needs to be pushing it right now. Either way, Deontay Wilder, he's a scumbag. He's a liar. And of course, his fans, they're either morons or, well, it's pretty obvious to the morons, really, aren't they? I mean, the Deontay Wilder fans, you have to be a bit of a moron to be his fan. Anyway, that's what's going on. You all drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, and of course, subscribe. And I'll catch you all on the next video.